Well, you can see where they went wrong. Early on, they had a sort of a constitutional convention, I guess you'd call it, at Uluru, but it was only people who were all of one mind. And so you got groupthink very early on, and they didn't want to dispel this. I mean, we know the phenomenon of groupthink where you get people together in a room and everybody pats one another on the back and says, what a brilliant idea. And then when things go horribly wrong, they say, why didn't I raise an objection? But that's what happens. That's why you need a constitutional convention. That's why you need to allow every voice to be heard. And yet, of course, right from the get-go, anybody who raised dissent against this idea was racist or stupid, right? They were a dickhead or a dinosaur, you know. that was the approach from day one, you know, that somehow Warren Mundine and Jacinta Price, as Johannes Leek portrayed them in a cartoon, were considered to be white supremacists, you know. It's absurd, but but they're going to. My point, I guess, Stephen, is they're going to keep making these mistakes, and this won't be the last of them, nor indeed the worst.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the left in Australia has always been its own worst enemy, and if the Voice was the Titanic, it was people like Teela Reid's and Thomas Calmers and Philip Adams and Victoria Fieldings and all the most vocal and obnoxious defenders of the Voice. They were the iceberg. They were the iceberg. They sabotaged their own campaign.
I always love a good Titanic metaphor in these situations. Or perhaps they were the ones on the bridge calling out to the engine room to step up the engines. But they were the architects of this thing, you're dead right. But look, let's just cross to the other side, the people on the other side of this argument, the no camp, or I guess constitutional conservatives who take things cautiously. They're not used to having many wins. I can't remember when they last had a win as big as this one in defeating the Voice. It's a feeling that they're clearly not used to. And as a result of that, I worry that they won't now push forward and use this as the opportunity to reform our settings, change the settings towards Aboriginal policy, which are completely wrong and completely unproductive. So, for instance, we could talk about land rights. We could talk about awarding land rights communally and how that's land rights without having any land rights. You need individual property rights if people are to flourish. We can talk about the Aboriginal corporations. We can talk about the whole idea of separatism or separate development, which has been where the track we've been locked into since Gough Whitlam's time.